Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Campaigning comes to a close for the third phase assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Punjab this evening. Special designated court in Ahmedabad awards death penalty to 38 and life imprisonment till death to 11 convicts in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial bomb blast case. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi to hold a virtual summit today to firm up comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Prime Minister to also inaugurate virtually 2 additional railway lines in Maharashtra this evening. Direct flight between Delhi and Khajuraho under the Udan scheme inaugurated. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Germany and France today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman participates in the G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting under G20 Presidency of Indonesia. Over 174 crore 64 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate improves to 98.12%. And in cricket, second T20 international match between India and West Indies to be played in Kolkata this evening. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and get fully vaccinated and also help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And other news in detail. High-pitched electoral campaigning is coming to a close this evening in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh for the third of the 7-phase assembly elections and also for the single-phase polls in Punjab. Political parties have intensified their poll campaign for the subsequent phases in UP and 2-phase polling in Manipur. Star campaigners and prominent leaders of various political parties are engaged in public rallies in a last-minute bid to woo the voters of the 2 states. A report.
The third phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on Sunday in 59 assembly constituencies. All the 117 assembly constituencies in the state will go to polls together in this phase. The electoral contest in the third phase of assembly election in the state are mostly multi-cornered fixtures. There are 627 candidates in fray for 59 seats included in this phase. During the single-phase polling in Punjab, total 1,304 candidates are in fray for 117 seats after the withdrawal of candidature. Meanwhile, the scenario of electoral battle emerged for the 6th phase of assembly election in Uttar Pradesh along with the second and last phase of polling in Manipur after the withdrawal of candidature. The final picture shows that there are total 676 candidates in fray for 57 assembly seats. In Manipur, there are 92 candidates, including 2 women, are contesting for 22 seats in second phase. The 4th phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on 23rd of February in 59 assembly constituencies from 9 districts. During the first phase of assembly election in Manipur, 38 seats from 6 districts will go to polls on 28th of February. In Manipur, there are 173 candidates, including 15 women, are contesting 38 seats in the first phase. Meanwhile, the filing of nomination for the 7th and the last phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh closed yesterday. In all, 848 nominations were filed till last evening. The scrutiny of nomination will be undertaken today. The candidature can be withdrawn till Monday. The 7th phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on 7th of next month in 54 assembly constituencies. This is Manal Saeed, Election Desk.
In addition, the assembly by-election for the Majuli seat in Assam will also be held simultaneously. 3 candidates have filed their nominations till the last evening. The scrutiny of nominations will be undertaken today. Candidature can be withdrawn till Monday. In Gujarat, a special designated court in Ahmedabad has awarded death penalty to 38 convicts in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial bomb blast case, which claimed 56 lives and injured more than 200 people. Pronouncing the quantum of punishment today in the rarest of rare case, the special judge, A.R. Patel, has sentenced 11 convicts to life imprisonment till death. The punishment was awarded under various sections of the Indian Penal Code, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, Explosive Substances Act and the Damage to Public Property Act. The Special Court has also ordered the compensation for the family of victims. The court has ordered 1 lakh rupees compensation to the families of the victims and 50,000 rupees to the seriously injured. Earlier, the Special Court had heard defence counsel and prosecution sides on the 11th and 14th of February. The Special Court had deferred the pronouncement of the quantum of punishment and asked the defence counsel to produce all the documents related to convicts in the court. Special Judge A.R. Patel, in his verdict on the 8th of this month, Special Judge A.R. Patel acquitted the other 28 accused, giving them the benefit of doubt. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The conviction and punishment in Ahmedabad serial blast case are the result of a solid investigation by Gujarat Police. Gujarat Police had not only solved the entire conspiracy but also broke the nexus of the anti-national organizations in the country during the long investigation. There were a series of bomb explosions in Ahmedabad on 26 July in 2008 which resulted in death of 56 persons and injuries to more than 200 persons. A total of 23 blasts took place in Ahmedabad on that day during the span of just 90 minutes. Prior to the serial blast, television channels and media had received an email from an outfit called as Indian Mujahideen warning that such a serial blast would occur. Thereafter, alert police had also recovered 29 live bombs from various parts of Surat city. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate today to the nation 2 additional railway lines of the Mumbai suburban network of the Central Railway. Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate 5th and 6th railway lines between Thane and Diva in the Mumbai suburban railway limits and will also show green flag to additional suburban services. The event, which is scheduled at 4:30 p.m., will be attended by various dignitaries, including Union Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav, Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
Kalyan is the main junction of Central Railway. The traffic coming from north side and southern side of the country merge at Kalyan and move towards Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus. To segregate suburban and long distance trains, 2 additional tracks were planned. The 2 additional railway lines connecting Thane and Diva have been built at the approximate cost of Rs 620 crores and features 1.5 km long flyover, 3 major bridges and 21 minor bridges. Now there are 6 lines between Lokmanya Tilak terminus and Kalyan. These lines will significantly remove the interference of long-distance trains traffic and suburban trains traffic in Mumbai. These lines will also enable the introduction of additional suburban trains in the city. From today, additional 36 suburban trains will be launched, out of which 34 trains are AC trains. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of UAE Armed Forces Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan will hold a virtual summit today. Both leaders expected to lay out the vision of the historic and friendly relations between the two countries at a time when India is celebrating 75 years of its independence as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Briefing media New Delhi yesterday, MES spokesperson Arindam Bakshi said, India and the UAE have deepened and transformed their bilateral ties significantly over the past few years, and both countries have made substantial progress on some aspects of the free trade agreement. A report from our correspondent.
A major initiative in India-UAE bilateral relations is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement CEPA. Negotiations for CEPA were launched in September last year and have been completed. The agreement will take India-UAE economic and commercial engagement to the next level. UAE is India's third largest trade partner, and bilateral trade and investment ties are expected to see significant enhancements. Mr. Modi and Mr. Al Nahyan will also discuss bilateral cooperation and exchange views on the regional and international issues of mutual interest. In recent years, bilateral relations between India and the UAE have strengthened in all areas, and both sides have embarked upon a comprehensive strategic partnership. Prime Minister visited UAE in 2015, 2018, 2019, while the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi visited India in 2016 and 2017. Ministerial visits between the two sides have also continued, including 3 visits of External Affairs Minister and a visit of Commerce and Industry Minister to UAE last year. Both sides have collaborated closely during the COVID-19 pandemic in critical areas of healthcare and food security. Bilateral trade, investment and energy relations have remained robust. The two sides are also strengthening their cooperation in new areas of renewable energy, startups, fintech, etc. India is participating with one of the largest pavilions in the Dubai Expo 2020. UAE hosts a large India community which numbers close to 3.5 million. Mr. Modi has expressed India's appreciation to the leadership of UAE for supporting the Indian community during the pandemic. UAE leadership has also been appreciative of the contribution of the Indian community in its development. Both sides had agreed on an air bubble agreement in 2020 during the pandemic, which has enabled the movement of people between the two countries despite the challenges posed by COVID-19. Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today participated in the sessions on sustainable finance and infrastructure on the second day of the ongoing G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting under G20 Presidency of Indonesia. The 17th G20 Heads of State and Government Summit will take place in November this year in Bali, Indonesia. The Finance Minister supported the efforts being made for scaling up the sustainable finance instruments with a focus on improving accessibility and affordability. Sharing her perspectives on infrastructure, Nirmala Sitharaman highlighted the need for bridging the global infrastructure financing gap, development of innovative financing mechanisms, and mobilization of public and private investment in inclusive infrastructure. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia today inaugurated a direct flight between Delhi and Khajuraho under the Udan scheme. The flight service has been started 2 days before the scheduled Khajuraho festival. On the occasion, the minister said Madhya Pradesh has witnessed a growth of 40% in the aviation sector. He said Khajuraho is the gateway to the culture of Madhya Pradesh and it represents unique confluence of Hindu and Jain civilization which dates back 1,000 years. He announced the 2 flying training organizations will start operation in Khajuraho from April this year.
Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry has notified the guidelines on extended producers' responsibility on plastic packaging under Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016. The rule mandates to take steps to minimize generation of plastic waste, not to litter the plastic waste, ensure segregated storage of waste at source and hand over segregated waste. The rules also mandates the responsibilities of local bodies, gram panchayats, waste generators, retailers and street vendors to manage plastic waste. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupendra Yadav said, taking forward the clarion call given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to eliminate single-use plastics, government has notified comprehensive guidelines on extended producers' responsibility on plastic packaging. Over 174 crore 64 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Health Ministry said over 37 lakh 86,000 doses were administered yesterday. The recovery rate is currently at 98.12%. Over 25,000 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. India's active caseload currently stands at 2,92,092. 492 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours.
The Health Ministry today said more than 171 crore 76 lakh vaccine doses have been provided to states and UTs so far through the centre's free-of-cost channel and through the direct state procurement category. It said more than 11 crore 41 lakh balance and unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and UTs to be administered.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Campaigning comes to a close for the third phase assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Punjab this evening. Special designated court in Ahmedabad awards death penalty to 38 and life imprisonment till death to 11 convicts in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial bomb blast case. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi to hold virtual summit today to firm up comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Prime Minister to also inaugurate virtually 2 additional railway lines in Maharashtra this evening. Direct flight between Delhi and Khajuraho under the Uran scheme inaugurated. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Germany and France today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman participates in the G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting under G20 presidency of Indonesia. Over 174 crore 64 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate improves to 98.12%. And in cricket, second T20 international match between India and West Indies to be played in Kolkata this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will leave for a 6-day visit to Germany and France today. He will participate in the Munich Security Conference during his Germany visit. Dr. Jaishankar will also hold bilateral meetings with foreign ministers and other delegates who will attend the conference. On the sidelines of the conference, the External Affairs Minister will lead discussions at an Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav event being hosted by the Consulate General of India in Munich and the Observer Research Foundation. On the second leg of his visit, Dr. Jaishankar will hold bilateral meetings with his French counterpart Jean-Yves Le Drian at Paris on the 20th of this month. He will attend the EU Ministerial Forum for Cooperation in the Indo-Pacific on the 22nd of February. He will also hold bilateral meetings with counterparts of the EU and other Indo-Pacific nations. Dr. Jaishankar will also give an address at the French Institute of International Relations. In Kerala, the Congress-led opposition today boycotted the assembly amid Governor Arif Mohammed Khan delivering the opening address to mark the beginning of the budget session. Opposition leader V.D. Satishan told media outside the House that the governor is colluding with the state government and misusing his power. He alleged that the governor played a part in the controversial appointment of the Vice-Chancellor of Kannur University and paved the way for corruption by signing the Lokayukta Ordinance. Outlining the government's achievements in his address that lasted over an hour, Governor Mr. Khan urged the centre to give a nod to the state's semi-high-speed rail corridor project.
And now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
18th February is the day when the Indian Home Rule Society was founded in London in 1905. The Indian Home Rule Society sought to promote the cause of self-rule in British India. The organization was founded by Shyamji Krishna Verma with support from a number of prominent Indian nationalists in Britain at the time, including Bhikaji Cama, Dadabhai Naoroji and S.R. Rana.
The Indian Home Rule Society was a metropolitan organization modelled after Victorian public institutions of the time. It had a written constitution, and the stated aim was to secure home rule for India and to carry on a genuine Indian propaganda in Britain by all practicable means. The IHRS was open for membership to Indians only. It found significant support amongst Indian students and other Indian populations in Britain.
The Indian Home Rule Society maintained close contact with revolutionary movements in India. The society was the founder of the India House in London. India House was a student residence that was open to promote nationalist views among Indian students in Britain. The Indian Home Rule Society, along with Shyamji Krishna Verma's journal, The Indian Sociologist, laid the foundation of the militant Indian nationalist movement in Britain. After Shyamji Krishna Verma shifted to Paris in 1907, the society gave way to the secret nationalist society of Abhinav Bharat Mandal, founded by V.D. Savarkar.
18th of February is also the day when the Royal Indian Navy Revolt of 1946 started in Mumbai. The strike by the ratings of the Royal Indian Navy came at a time when the Indian nationalist sentiment had reached its peak with the launch of Quit India movement and the end of the Second World War. It was triggered by a group of 20 young ratings of the Royal Indian Navy stationed on the HMIS Talwar.
While the immediate trigger was the demand for better food and working conditions, the agitation soon turned into a wider demand for the release of all political prisoners and independence from British rule. The day after the strike began, the ratings went around Mumbai in lorries, waving the Indian flag, and fought with Europeans and policemen who tried to stop them.
As HMIS Talwar was also the communications training school, the ratings used wireless codes to communicate among themselves and to spread the message across all naval stations. Within a few days, the rebels had managed to take control of 74 other ships stationed in Mumbai, Karachi, Chennai, Kolkata and other parts of the British Empire. The reports on radio and in newspapers spread like wildfire. Soon, ordinary people also joined the ratings in the revolt and life came to a virtual standstill in both Mumbai and Kolkata. There were meetings, processions and strikes. In many cities across India, students boycotted classes in solidarity.
The response of the state was brutal. Hundreds of Indian citizens were killed and thousands were injured in the British police firing on the demonstrators. Finally, Sardar Patel managed to make the ratings surrender on the 24th of February 1946. The revolt of the naval ratings remains a legend today. It was an event that further strengthened the determination among all sections of the Indian people to see the end of British rule. In memory of the revolt, a naval uprising memorial stands today in Mumbai.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
स्वाधीनता आंदोलन के दौरान भारतीय जनमानस को उत्प्रेरित कर स्वतंत्रता का अलख जगाने और मातृभूमि के प्रति सेवा, समर्पण और त्याग की ज्वाला प्रज्वलित कर देने वाले अमर गीतों पर आधारित विशेष कार्यक्रम आजादी के तराने सुनना न भूलें। FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 4:45 पर परिक्रमा कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत आजादी के तराने सिर्फ आकाशवाणी पर।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404, issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today hosted prominent Sikhs across the country. During this meeting at his residence in New Delhi, Mr. Modi interacted with them. The prominent Sikhs who were hosted include Padma Shri Baba Balbir Singh Ji Sichewal, Baba Joga Singh of Dera Baba Jang Singh, Nanaksar Karnal, Baba Jassa Singh of Shiromani Akali Buddha Dal, Panjwa Takht, and Jathedar Baba Sahib Singh Ji, Kar Seva, Anandpur Sahib. After the meeting, President Seva Panthi Yamuna Nagar Mahant Karamjit Singh lauded the Prime Minister for the government's initiatives for the Sikh community. President of Delhi Gurudwara Committee, Harmeet Singh Kalka, also echoed the same views. President of Sikh Forum, New Delhi, Ravinder Singh Ahuja said Mr. Modi has a good understanding of the Sikh religion.
पीएम साहब एक सिख एट हार्ट हैं, बहुत जुड़े हुए हैं, बहुत उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है सिख ग्रंथों की और सिख गुरुओं की और सिख भाषा की और सिख किस तरह से सेवा में जुड़े हैं, इस चीज की शायद किसी प्राइम मिनिस्टर को इंडिया में इतनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं रही जितनी पीएम मोदी साहब को है.
The National Commission for Women NCW has sought a report from the Delhi police on alleged molestation of Anganwadi women by Aam Aadmi Party workers. Citing media reports, NCW chairperson Rekha Sharma has written a letter to Delhi Police Commissioner Rakesh Asthana and asked him to look into the matter and register an FIR against the culprits.
In Tamil Nadu, 47 fishermen released by the Sri Lankan Navy reached Chennai this morning. The fishermen belonging to Pudukottai, Nagapattinam and Rameshwaram were arrested for trespassing into Sri Lankan waters last December. Though they were released, they were tested positive for COVID-19 and were in hospital quarantine. Japan will gradually relax its border controls and allow limited number of foreign students and business travelers to enter the country from March. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said at a news conference yesterday that they will allow new entry of foreigners, excluding tourists. The decision has been widely appreciated across the spectrum, but the current restrictions effectively ban new entry to foreigners. Nearly 150,000 people have been unable to come to Japan to study, and many have been waiting for up to 2 years.
In women's cricket, New Zealand beat India by 3 wickets at John Davies Oval, Queenstown, to take an unassailable lead of 3-0 in the 5-match series. Chasing a total of 280 to win, the Kiwis managed to edge India by 3 wickets. Earlier, India posted a fighting total of 279 in 49.3 overs. In the second T20 international men's cricket match, Team India will now be looking to seal the 3-match series by beating West Indies at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata this evening. The men in blue have a 1-0 lead, and a victory in this fixture would give them an unassailable lead. On the other hand, West Indies, who also lost the preceding ODI series 0-3, will fight for their first win on this tour. West Indies did put up a decent show in the first T20 international. However, the hosts eventually chased down 158 with as many as 7 balls to spare. While Nicholas Pooran and Roston Chase did well for West Indies, Rohit Sharma and debutant Ravi Bishnoi shone for the hosts.
The Sensex and the Nifty today witnessed modest gains in the afternoon trade amid mixed global cues. The BSE Sensex was trading above the 58,000 mark, while the NSE Nifty was trading near the 17,350 level. The Sensex climbed 166 points, or 0.29%, to trade at 58,058. The Nifty also surged 38 points, or 0.22%, to 17,343 when reports last came in. In the forex market, the rupee also appreciated 35 paise to trade at 74 rupees and 76 paise against the US dollar in afternoon deals.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi will have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 13 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 21 degrees, while maximum is expected to be around 31. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 22 and 30 degrees. Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 16 degrees, maximum around 27. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky towards afternoon. Temperature will hover between 1 and 15 degrees. Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon. Leh will have a partly cloudy sky. Now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Campaigning comes to a close for the third phase assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Punjab this evening. Special designated court in Ahmedabad awards death penalty to 38 and life imprisonment till death to 11 convicts in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial bomb blast case. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi to hold a virtual summit today to firm up comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Prime Minister to also inaugurate virtually 2 additional railway lines in Maharashtra this evening. Direct flight between Delhi and Khajuraho under the Udan scheme inaugurated. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Germany and France today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman participates in the G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting under G20 Presidency of Indonesia. Over 174 crore 64 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate improves to 98.12%. And with that, we end the midday news.